So that's one thing I would do. Second thing, you know what I would do? I would show the kids non-stop films. What's the end of people that start using drugs? I would make them so paranoid from it that even if somebody will put $1 million cash next to the needle and tell him try it, and the $1 million is yours, they won't even consider it. And that's the only way that it's working. You put fear in the mind of a kid from something, he doesn't want to hear about it. He runs away every time he sees it. You understand? I remember when I was a kid, constantly we grew up in Israel, it was Yom Kippur War. I saw how we painted the lights of the cars with blue. It was a war. You hear bombs, airplanes. So we grew up with such a fear from Arabs. Not that it ever changed after 40 years. Still the same fear. So I remember when I went to my cousin, where I lived, there was no Arabs in Bat Yam. There was no Arabs. But when we went to Afula, it wasn't as modern as today. It was very primitive 40 years ago. As a kid, I saw an Arab old man with a mustache and a kafia. You know the kafia that they have? I started to run, paranoid, crying, screaming, looking for my uncle's house. When I came, they were all laughing. Why? I saw him. It's like seeing the devil. That's how I was paranoid. You understand? Kids are very soft. You can move them the way you want. If they show them how these people end in the streets, in the snow, in a gas station, asking for 50 cents, and how they end, and how they talk about how they lost everything they have, constantly make them afraid of this, you wouldn't have 10, 20, 30 or 50,000 kids with this addiction today. You wouldn't have every rehab place packed everywhere in the country. They're making now the heroin day. Special things with the government already realize it's an epidemic. On the radio they say, come and learn how to deal with the epidemic. There are a few epidemics today. Cancer. What can you do? There's no cure for cancer. We have to do tshuva and hope that it won't hurt us. That's it. It's not in our hand, the rest. But this is things that we can handle. Same thing, cigarettes. When I was a kid, two things my father always warned me from. Non-stop. I wish he would warn me from other things. But what did they know? They grew up in Israel. It was all secular. But two things he always warned me as a kid. He showed me the cigarette. You see? Be very careful never to start. Be very careful. Look how it ruins my life. I could have had another house, a normal place. Look how much I cough. Look how much I suffer. One time there was a strike. You couldn't find cigarettes in Israel all over the stores. So you know when a person is addicted to cigarette after the meal, you tell them there's no cigarettes left. What happened now? He would walk until the morning, until he find a cigarette somewhere. So I started to march with my father. The march of the living. Dying for a cigarette now. As a kid, every step, he tells me, you see, look how much your father has to suffer. We go to one store, you have cigarettes, ran out. Where is another one close? Here, go over there. Another 20 minutes. We came to the store, no cigarettes here. Where is the next one? Go over there. 3 hours we walk until we find one pack of cigarettes. And the entire ride he was warning me, you see, don't be a fool like me. It penetrates. You get scared from this. Not one time in my life I tried to see how a cigarette tastes. Even once. Why? That's how you have to deal with the problem. Later it's too late already. If, believe me, I one time saw a half-an-hour film about the drug addicts, about heroin. I have no question in my mind. If they show that show in schools, 90% of the addicts you save.
What age would you show it?
That's a hard question. She's asking from what age would you show them? From age that they begin to understand what drugs is. Maybe 12, maybe 11, maybe 13, something like that. Because this exists already in a school. They begin to push them in. Not to talk about people who goes to public school, Hashem Yerachem, what other things they see over there.